Well, first it was rumored, but now it's officially confirmed. No, guys, before you ask, Allison did not do anything to make this happen.
I heard a rumor that you walked away.
Hello, what's up, and welcome everyone. My name is Miss Quinn, and Sony has now acquired more stakes into From Software's parent company. I mean, this is something that I have to admit I kind of saw coming, considering that Sony already has a 14% stake into Elden Ring, which was developed by From Software. And I bet that all of you already know, what Elden Ring is, considering that their DLC, Shadow of Erdtree, was even nominated for Game of the Year. Which, okay, in all honesty, I have my own thoughts about that, about a DLC being nominated for Game of the Year. But, whatever, let's move on. According to GameIndustry.biz, Sony is set to become the largest shareholder of From Software's parent company. Kadokawa, which I hope I am pronouncing correctly, and Sony have both agreed from what they announced as a strategic capital and business alliance agreement. And yes, I said all of that while continuously doing air quotes. And of course, all of that is just a fancy way of saying that on January 7th of next year, Sony is set to have a 10% of Kadokawa. And I bet you're wondering, Quinn, how many shares did they have to buy in order to have 10%? Well, I'm so happy you asked, even though you probably didn't, because they had to buy 12 million new shares to have that much of a stake. And in order for them to have that much of a stake in it, they had to pay around $318 million, which, on honesty, if you want to, invest in me, I can't say I'll do anything good with that money, but, you can invest in me for, a small amount of $1 million. I won't mind. I mean, it's kind of a wonder on why they didn't just outright buy it in an acquisition, considering that they have been looking to acquire more things just like Microsoft has. But at the same time, I'm happy about it. I feel like From Software and their parent company are at a great place, and a complete buyout will most certainly change everything. I am really happy actually that they didn't acquire them in an acquisition. I think that would have been the worst possible move. From Software's parent company has not only produced video games but also manga, anime, and movies such as Legend of the Demon Cat, Mary and the Witch's Flower, and No Game, No Life, Zero, to name a few. I know many are worried about Sony's possibility to outright possibly lay off people and make huge changes within the company itself. It's something that is the reason why I'm happy they haven't just outright bought it in an acquisition. Although there is no way Sony would be able to at least directly be responsible for layoffs. The question then becomes, are shareholders responsible for layoffs? And in simple terms, no. With Sony only owning 10%, Sony will be known as what's referred to as the principal shareholder, which are only able to vote. Now, you may ask, voting on what exactly? They'll be able to vote on who becomes CEO and who sits on the board of directors. Besides the voting, the benefits they'll receive is a 10% in profits and 10% of company assets. Now, I think this is a good route when the company has been very profitable, and it allows for them to have benefits but not have complete control, if you know what I mean. The only way Sony will be able to do anything from the research that I've done is if they own more than 10%. Owning more than what they have, Sony can be calling general meetings to where they can resolve a quote unquote crisis, or where they can hold the board of directors accountable for the things that have been going wrong. And let's keep in mind that the only place where they do own more than 14% is in Elden Ring. However, it's only with Elden Ring, and it's not from Software's parent company, which again is a good thing because they have a lot to grab. If a film is not presenting well, they can be like, okay, this isn't good for the rest of the shareholders, nor is it good for us. So, what can we do about it? And currently, the only way they'll be able to somewhat cause a form of layoffs is if they're able to vote in a CEO or a board of directors who are extremely in favor of layoffs. Now, hopefully, as principal shareholders, they don't really put pressure on them, so to speak, to get the results that they want. However, this is Sony that we're talking about. Sony doesn't really have such a great reputation. Actually, I don't think any company has a great reputation, and I'm talking like spotless reputation. Actually, wait, no, hold up, scratch that. I do know some that do have somewhat of a spotless reputation, not so much getting their hands dirty. But anyway, I digress. We also hope to have that they don't later acquire more, stakes after January 7th of next year. However, I'm not sure of that. I really hope they don't, however, because then that's when they can do all the hell of, calling for meetings and holding the actual board accountable, putting extreme pressure on the board, and then the board going like, hey, we're under pressure from shareholders and we have to let certain people go. That's why holding in a lot of stakes within a company is great. But what I do know for sure, is that Sony has already invested quite a pretty penny within this company. $318 million to be exact, and for 12 million shares. Now, it is beneficial for them to not mess with the company. I feel like if they liked it to the point where they sought out such huge stakes within it, it's because they saw the potential that this was going to make and they don't want to mess it up. Like, please, Sony, if you want something good to happen, if you want to keep the bread coming, don't mess with this company. It is a really good company. They're going to show you a lot of profits if you keep your hands out of the cookie jar. But anyway, guys, that is it for me. I'm honestly going to be optimistic and hope that, Sony doesn't do anything at all. But who knows? Thank you, everyone, so much for watching and making it this far if you did. And remember, in these days with the holidays getting closer, it's important to give and to receive love. Be kind and be patient because you never know what someone else is going through. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and please be kind, stay safe, and stay amazing. And yes, I pronounced that like I meant to say awesome, but then amazing also came out and it said, yeah, I'm just going to make that a word. Bye bye.